Welcome to English Day with Mary. Today we are going to discuss the present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is commonly used to talk about an action that happened in the past, but in an unspecified time. Later on, as we go on with the lesson, we are going to learn when to use the present perfect tense properly. Now, how do we form the present perfect tense? To form the affirmative present perfect tense, we follow the pattern subject plus has or have, depending on your subject. If your subject is singular, then use has. If it is plural, then use have, then followed by the past participle form of our verb. For example, she has worked. Let's check if we followed the structure. We began our sentence with our subject she, followed by has, because our subject is singular, then our past participle, which is worked. Since work is an example of a regular verb, the past participle form is the same with its simple past form. Now let's move on to the negative form. Again, we begin with the subject, followed by has or have plus not, then the past participle form of the verb. For example, she has not worked. As you can see, we only added the word not in our sentence to make it negative. And lastly, we have the question form. In here, we start our pattern with has or have followed by our subject, then the past participle form of the verb. For example, has she worked? So when do we use this tense? We can use this tense to show connection between actions that began in the past and continue to this day or present time. We normally use the time expressions since and for and is typically used with stative verbs. However, in some cases, we can use this especially if we use the verbs live, work, and study. Let's have an example. So in our diagram, we show here that the X mark there is the action that began in the past and continued up to the present time. Now our example is, I have lived in Canada since 2005. So the speaker of the sentence is stating that she or he started living in Canada since 2005 up to the present time. Next, we can also use this tense to talk about a past action but no specific time. So in here, if you will look at the diagram, we have the X mark there somewhere in between the past and the present, but it doesn't say exactly when it began or when it happened. So let's have an example sentence. Maria and Benedict have been to the temple before. So in this sentence, it shows that the subject Maria and Benedict have been to the temple before, but it did not specifically say when exactly they went there in the past. Next, we can use the present perfect tense to talk about a repeated action in the past. For example, I have been to London several times. So in this sentence, the subject has been to London maybe 3 or more times, but we do not know exactly when in the past. Next, we can talk about change or over time with present perfect tense. For example, your Korean has improved since we met. So in this sentence, we are saying that the subject couldn't talk Korean very well at the beginning, but as time went on, she or he has now become better and can communicate using the language much better. Now let's have a short exercise. Please give the correct past participle form of the verbs to complete the sentences. Let's have the first one. Lucas blanked this book several times. If you answered has read, then you are correct. Lucas is only singular, only one, That's why we use has. And the past participle form of read is read. The spelling is the same, only the pronunciation changed. So Lucas has read this book several times. 2. Susan and Hercules blank to the store. If you answered have gone, then you are correct. Susan and Hercules have gone to the store. Number 3. My grandparents blank married for 60 years. If you answered have been, then you are correct. We have a plural subject, that's why we need to use have. My grandparents have been married for 60 years. Next, we have I blank hard. If you answered have studied, then you are correct. I have studied hard. And lastly, we have she blanked this bread before. If you answered has eaten, then again you are correct. She has eaten this bread before. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to like and don't forget to subscribe.